Our research video is on GMOs. What is a GMO? GMO is an abbreviation for genetically modified organism. GMO crops are created to have higher yields and special adaptations like pest resistance or acclimation to brand new climates. This is done by creating insect-resistant crops as well as crops with faster turnaround time to harvesting. The changes that make all these variations possible are made in the genome of an organism by splicing in all kinds of foreign DNA. Genetically modified crops often are a hot button issue in this day and age because their use is highly controversial, because many people do not understand that the benefits of their use far outweigh the costs.
How do they affect us? Although they have a negative stigma in the US and all around the world, they have been shown to have benefits. GMO crops allow farmers to produce better and more nutritious food at lower cost. One example of a beneficial GMO crop is rice with higher amounts of vitamin A. GMOs can also be used to increase the volume of rice production, which is good because rice is used to feed 50% of the world's population. Information courtesy of the Food and Agriculture of the United Nations Group.
GMOs in the economy. GMOs offer higher yields and stronger, more persistent crops. On average, farmers using GMO crops made $3.39 to every dollar invested into the crop. The creation of new insect-resistant crops, IR crops, greatly improved yield and triggered a substantial growth in the economy of farming. Corn farmers experienced a 13% increase in yield, and cotton farmers experienced a 17% increase in yield, all due to insect-resistant crops.
Environmental effects. GMOs are often used with specific herbicides and pesticides that themselves hold an environmental risk. Some GMOs have been found to be toxic to non-targeted animals like bees and butterflies. Also, the nature of most GMOs is to make the crop insect resistant, which will run the risk over time of creating insects that are resistant to these GMOs. Due to GMOs making crops more resistant and hardier, it runs the risk of making these crops into invasive species because they're not naturally occurring.
Pros and cons. There are many pros and cons to GMO use, but some of the pros that we found were GMOs reduce greenhouse gas emissions, they reduce soil erosion, they conserve water, they reduce the use of harsh chemicals in agriculture, and due to the reduced cost of products, they have the potential to help grow crops in developing countries. Some of the cons of GMOs are that GMOs are not always thoroughly tested. The shortest period for some of this testing is up to 90 days. Also, a study from the Institute of Responsible Technology has reported that a diet of strictly GMO crops has been shown to cause organ failure in rats.
Who uses them? The U.S. is the leading producer of GMOs. The U.S. produces 39% of the global production of GMOs. Countries like India and Pakistan grow a substantial amount of cotton that is nearly all GMO. Europe is widely anti-GMO and are concerned about the long-term effects of GMOs on both the environment and public health. Many countries are not yet sold on GMOs and are refusing to use them until more research is done. Here we have a world map showing countries' involvement in the production of GMOs. Green represents countries currently growing GMOs. Orange represents countries that are only importing GMOs, and blue represents countries that have only passed laws allowing research to be done on GMOs.
Conclusion. We believe that their use should be allowed. However, there needs to be a lot of testing about possible negative health effects and consideration of environmental hazards that could come from GMOs. We also believe that the creation and distribution of GMOs should not be taken lightly, and before any new GMOs are put into use, they must be highly tested. As a nation and around the world, there must be some sort of regulation on the amount of GMOs used and standards to how much they are tested before being used. This is important so that we do not rely solely on GMOs and so that around the world we have an understanding on the importance of quality of our crops as well as health for the environment and our people.